Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? What's going on? It is Ricky Venters and Marlon Madden, and we're back with you for another week of the Success Journey Show.
Yes,
what's good, Marlon? How you doing, bro?
Oh man, you know it's the weather outside is frightful. No, it's just funny. You know what's funny, man? When you're not, what does everything to me is a life lesson. You know what I'm saying? And when you see when you go to New York or you go further up north into Canada and all that, they have snow. It's like automatic. Blowers come out. People are salting the road. Everything is just happening. People know everything just happened with a system, right? Yeah. And then you're somewhere where they're not used to it. And I see them doing it. These guys are doing some stuff. I'm like, man, that is not how you handle.
No,
right?
Not at all. Not at all.
And you just see that, it's exposure.
Yeah.
When somebody's used to something, they fall right into place. When somebody's not, sometimes you can't hold them accountable.
Yeah, dude. It's like, when I see snow, my first reaction is, oh, shoot, or hear about snow. My first reaction is, as we were in New York, okay, it's going to be a lot, prepare my mind. How many times am I going to go out and shovel? How heavy the snow is going to be when you're shoveling? Am I in shape to shovel? That's the thing. I'm like, yo. Like all that stuff goes in your head. Like, yo, dude, am I in shape to go out there and shovel? Man, because it's going to be a lot of snow, man. We got to get this. And then, man, you go out there, you can see a whole bunch of snow falling for hours, and it's still not accumulate anywhere close to what you're used to. Correct. But like you said, though, environment, man, people respond different when they don't know, Correct. And I mean, that's with life, though, right? People respond different when they don't know.
Right.
So many things are happening right now in the world, man. You have, the stock market,
going crazy,
GameStop and AMC, all these different things going on. People are sitting down trying to get in the know of different things financially. People taking time to learn. And I mean, things are just shifting all over the place, dude. Like, correct. The economy shifting, the way we do things, the way health is done. Most of health is done telemedicine right now. It's just like so many things are shifting over these last 2020, 2021 that, when we get done with, the whole coronavirus or whatever it looks like on the back end, the world's going to be different, dude.
Way different.
It's going to be different.
The kid that got out of college this year or last year, graduated, and then went on a job, and they're teleworking. So for somebody to tell them now, hey, you got to come into the building from 9 to 5 every day. Yeah. They're looking at you like, nah, that's not going to work for me. I work from home.
Yeah.
I don't come in.
Exactly.
there's no coming in for me.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Like it's totally different. Like when you have your house, man, now you're thinking like, like we're moving, get a new house. And I'm thinking I have to have a space for work.
Correct.
Like this is where I work. This is my office. Like, and not just an office where, I'll just go in periodically or hang out. Like, no, this is a place where I need to make sure it's equipped. So let me make sure I got a hard wire here. Let me make sure I got, this there. Let me got this there, because it's the way the world's going to be, man, going forward. So it's, embrace yourself for it, guys. It's all about the journey. How many journeys have you gone on where, either GPS, ran out of batteries, either updated, something came up, you had to make a shift or whatever it may be, or there was an accident in the road, you got to go the detour. Come on. I know everyone can attest to the detours, had to jump off the highway for a few miles to get back on. Like this is where we are right now, at that detour. So, stay true to who you are through this, but it's definitely, man, just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. But yeah, Marlon, why don't you share with some of our new listeners, some ways that they can connect with us and find all of our recent shows.
All right. Hey, first-time listeners and reoccurring listeners, we thank you for all the support you've given us, and thank you for being on our journey with us. So if you want to be on a journey with us, the successjourneyshow.com is our website. If you want to check us out on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook, it's Success Journey Show. On Twitter, Success_show. All right. And on YouTube, we're trying to grow YouTube followers because everything like we've been talking about is more visual. We want you to go to the Success Journey Show on YouTube, subscribe, like, and check out our videos and all our content. Also, we have a sponsor, PWFCC Foundation. It's the Prince William County Community Foundation. What they're all about is basically they are feeding people that can't feed themselves, right? So they are also looking for donations. So if you put that into Google or anything, it's pwccfoundation.org, and you can go on there and donate. Please donate to that cause. They're one of our sponsors, or the only sponsor that we have, because we only want to align ourselves with sponsors that are doing something that we deem as great.
Yep. Man, thanks to them, and congratulations to them for what they're accomplishing in our community. So, man, guys, like we always bring to you, man, these last few weeks have been fire. We are on episode 94, I believe. 94. Wow. Almost at that 100 mark, yo.
Man. Yeah, 100.
After 100 mark. Man, wow. It's a celebration within itself. But yeah, without further ado, man, we're going to bring on our guest. Yeah, so today we have with us none other than Mario Broussard. Mario, what's good, bro? How are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm good. It's good to see you, Rick. Nice to see you, Marlon. Thank you so much, fellas, for this opportunity. And I just love the energy. Checked out the podcast before I came on. You guys are doing some great things. And so it's really an honor to be a part of this right now.
Dude, man, we appreciate you, man, and being willing to chat it up with us for a little bit today, man. So, Mario, I want you to share with our listeners. We call them travelers because, this is a success journey show. We're on a journey. We want them to travel with us, and we're traveling with them on their journey to success, whatever that success is. Why don't you share a little bit with us about yourself, your background, a little bit what you're doing now, and we'll go a little deeper as we go along with the show.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, so once again, my name is Mario Broussard, and I'm just so if you look on my resume, it probably wouldn't make a lot of sense because you see a whole bunch of things that seem inconsistent. But the one consistency on those couple pages that you would see is that, man, I just love people, and I do truly love serving others. That's what really gives me life. And so among other things, I've been, I'm a husband, I'm a father to one son. And I was getting ready to rock my hat today because we found out, I'm having a girl. Yeah. So yeah, man. I have a girl on the way coming off of an incredible tragedy that we'll probably get into later. But as my profession goes, I am a certified licensed clinical social worker, and so I'm a psychotherapist. And specialize in anxiety and depression with my clients. I am the CEO, the owner of Fresh Start Counseling, LLC, which is my private practice. And I contract throughout the DC, Maryland, Virginia area and beyond. Really, I have a contract in Seattle, and throughout the states. And so it's a blessing to be able to serve in that regard. I'm an educator. So I've been a vice principal for a high school. I've been a chaplain for a high school, Tacoma Academy. I've been a pastor as well. And God, I believe God has blessed me to be able to minister in various capacities. Had the opportunity to speak throughout the United States, Africa, and the Caribbean. And so it's just been a wild ride. But man, I'll go wherever God has me go, man.
Yeah, love it. And also travelers, one of the connection that he has with the previous guest that we've had on our show, Season Cromwell. So you guys are co-hosts together with on the show Let's Pray. Definitely want to shout that out today right now as well.
Yeah. You know what's crazy, Rick and Marlon, is that I was really blessed to be able to be the host as well as co-host as well as co-producer of that program for almost 3 years. I recently stepped down from it.
Wow.
Just because wifey's pregnancy hasn't been what she'd like it to be. This quarantine's got us all going in different directions. And so I just needed to be a little more present. But man, my tenure on that show and the experience and exposure that it gave me for television and media, was unparalleled. And so, man, it was so good to serve with season on that. And it's been really cool.
Love it, man. Now I got to find another light-skinned brother. Here, man.
Right.
You and David, man, following up. Got to get another light-skinned brother on there.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Oh, dude, man. Listen, man, from the time that me and Mario connected, it's been 8 years, dude, since we first connected at RPC, man. It's been nothing but love both ways, man, and just sharing in our journeys together in life, the ups and the downs. And, Mario, I know you share kind of what you do now and a little bit on the professional side, what you've done, but tell us a little bit more from the origin. What was your background like, man, to kind of set the stage as to why you had that love for people nowadays?
Yeah, man. I'm really blessed and fortunate to have come from a humble beginning and to be able to make it up out of that. Parents were married for about 15 years until they had a divorce. I was probably around 9 years old. And, what's crazy is that they divorced, and I used to shy away from this part of my story, this part of the journey. But I can't do it anymore. I certainly honor my parents. But my father and my mother, they split up when I was 9. They got back together and got remarried when I was 11. And then they got divorced again by the time I was 13. And, it was my brother and I. My mom held it down. She didn't want to leave the house that we were in. It was a decent neighborhood, nice house for where we've come from. And so she got to working, man, worked 3 jobs. And and her and my brother and I worked 2 of those 3 jobs with her in the evening. And I have to say, as I look back on it, if it were not for that time where I was helping her clean buildings from 3 p.m. to, till bedtime, basically, Lord knows where I would have been on the streets because I had it all around me. I didn't want to go, didn't want to clean. I didn't want to, empty trash cans and vacuum and so forth, man. But if it weren't for that, I probably would have had a different story. And I can't talk enough about the work ethic that it gave me, and watching her, man. And so that Columbus, Ohio is where I was born and raised.
Okay.
And so, and left Columbus, probably almost 10 years ago, Rick. So 2011, I came to Maryland, to the DMV, and I've been there ever since. And man, that Dr. Seuss, the Dr. Seuss story, it says, "Oh, the places you will go." I just there's no telling. I couldn't have wrote this any better myself, man. This has just been a crazy journey.
Love it, man. Love it.
Love it.
So that's probably why what brought you into the service thing, and how just your upbringing. I can see from your upbringing that the service and sticking close to people, and also your parents' divorce, remarriage, it probably gave you that urge to say, I need to figure out how people are going through, because you said you work in psychology and stuff like that. So can you explain how that brought about that thinking in your head once you started to grow up?
Yeah, man. That's exactly what it was. Between my parents' divorce and the time that I spent also with my grandmother, who was, one of those pillars of our local church. Yes. And she was elderly herself, but yet she was taking time throughout the week to go visit the sick and shut in who were about her age oftentimes. And man, we had to clean her house. We would clean their houses, and we would do their dishes. And, I wish that I could take credit and just say I had a heart for that, but it was one of those things that was just ingrained, without really, when you're 12, 15, years old, you got other agendas, you got other things that you want to do. But man, that theme of service is the string throughout. And so I naturally gravitated to that, as well as I looked around in my local community and I saw not only my parents getting divorced, but, other families being separated. So I'm like, man, what is the psychology behind this? How, I can't say that I was fixated just on divorce, but it was just this concept of, we've got to do something different when it comes to how we navigate our relationships and and not just our intimate relationships, but just how we relate to people in general, and how that plays out and how we raise our children and how we conduct our intimate relationships as well. And not to mention, for some reason, people just always had questions to ask me, advice to ask me, as if I had a sign on my forehead or something like, I know the answer. Right. And so I said, man, I'm doing this for free. I might as well get paid for this, man.
Yes, sir.
And so that has led me down that road, man. Graduated from Howard University in 2015 with my master's in social work. So just honored to be able to be a part of that Howard community as well, man. And so it's great to be able to give back to my community, as well as anyone who is willing to receive my services. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister graduated from Howard too. She's a
HU.
Yeah. She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before we jump into that, being that it's Black History Month, I just want you to plug in those HBCUs and tell people why it's important to support those Black colleges.
Man. Yeah, I mean, we can go down the line. We definitely have Howard, and we have Morehouse and Spelman. We have Tuskegee. I mean, we can go down the line, but it's important because there was a facade in a thought process some years ago. I would say within the last probably 10, 15, that we had gotten to a place in society, both nationally and internationally, where Black people were able to have the same opportunities and resources and so forth. And so we didn't need affirmative action. We didn't need HBCUs anymore, because we were integrating into all the mainstream and popular universities and having this measure of success. And the truth about it is that is not the truth at all. Yeah. Our people are still Black people are still the most disadvantaged people on the planet, in just about every major area that it counts: education, housing, opportunities, you name it. And so we need our HBCUs and our historical Black colleges and universities, because that's where we're able to have the most organic experience. One thing that our brothers and sisters, Caucasian brothers and sisters, don't in general, I'm not just speaking for everyone, but don't have to worry about are those variables on the outside that come along with also trying to navigate and succeed on this success journey, right? And you don't have your parents rooting for you. A lot of them don't have their parents rooting for them, hoping that their salary would one day help fund their family, and having to reach back and give back. There's just so many things that we deal with. And so when you come into that organic experience, free from drama, free from stereotypes and so forth, for the most part, you're able to then focus in and also have a sense of identity of who you are, man. I went to a predominantly white institution for my undergrad. Great time, man. I love how eclectic my experience was. and it gave me an ability to navigate in and out of different circles. But when I went to Howard, Marlon, when I went to Howard, Rick, it opened. They have what they call at Howard the Black perspective, and it's really just seeing the world through the eyes of Black academics, through the eyes of Black struggle, and also Black success, man. And I was really able to understand who I was and where and how I fit into the wider society. And so I'll never forget my Howard experience.
Man, I tell you, with each question, I mean, more and more layers are unpeeling, about Mario's journey. And guys, we're just getting started, scratching the surface. And before we go into, more so, Mario mentioned a tragic event that took place not so long ago with him and his family. We want to get to that point, but I need to set the stage for our travelers as to how God has been preparing you up to that point, and even now, through your journey, through a lot of different scenarios that you've gone through. You guys hear how he has, different things he's transitioned in and out of as he's building up his portfolio, the thing that make up who he is now, so he can offer these great services to the world and his community. But one thing he hasn't shown light on, what I want him to do now, is to talk about those transition moments and what those transition moments looked like when the decision may not have been as clear as to, okay, yes, this is the best way to go. I'm definitely going to do it. Everything's going to work out according to plan. Just sign me up. Talk about what those transition moments looked like for you through these different changes as you were developing yourself over the years.
Sure. We can start with that. I think the most crucial transition was the time that I went from Ohio to Maryland. And, in brief, I came out here to take a chaplain position at Tacoma Academy, is a Christian high school. And so I took an assistant chaplain position, and they created the position for me. They wanted someone who, was relatable and could really just reach the young people where they were at. And they decided, to call me for the position. I had some connections there that were friends that worked there. But long story short, I came out here to do ministry, and I thought my calling was to be a pastor. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Because I love people, I love God, and I believe that my life has been changed by my relationship with God. And at age 14, I preached my first sermon. By 18, I was over in Africa doing an evangelistic series for 3 weeks, and then headed out to Houston and Dallas, and I just thought this is what I was supposed to do. But I got out here and I saw the brokenness of families, individuals, kids with depression and anxiety. And I'm like, as much as learning Hebrew and Greek would help me behind the pulpit, it doesn't help me in my one-on-one interaction. Correct. And so I had a decision to make. And here's one of those transitions where it's like, hey, my church was going to pay for me to get a master's in divinity. But I told them I needed a master's in counseling. I said, because, if I can parse Hebrew and Greek, but I can't help them with their depression, if they're no longer here, then they can't hear my sermon. And so I broke down and wrote a proposal and sent it up to those in charge. And I said, hey, this is the reason why I feel like you need to fund me a master's in counseling. And they basically shot it down and was like, we'll pay for the master's of divinity. But, if you want to do something else, that's on you. And that was a tough decision because I had a good paycheck coming. Correct. A family that I just recently got married, in 2012. And so you had a decision to make, man. And I chose to step away from that position. At the same time, Rick, that's when I was pastoring at RPC.
Yeah.
Man, it was just, there were so many opportunities and so much exposure in that moment. And I said, man, I got to go where I know that I can be the most effective. And so I had to make that decision that I was going to fund my own education to do what I felt like I was called to do versus what opportunity was being handed to me. And I have to say, it's not an opportunity if it's not in alignment with what your calling and your purpose is. And that's something that I had to really understand very quickly. And I said a little prayer, and before I was getting ready to complain to God, like, does this mean I'm not going to have opportunities to speak? Before I could get that out, the thought process came to my head and said, I know it was God that said, hey, did you have a degree these last 10 years when you were speaking? You didn't have an MDiv, did you? Correct. What makes you think I'm going to stop now just because you didn't go off to the divinity school? I couldn't even say anything else. And I have to say, I've had more opportunities in more diverse places to speak. I mean, I got to speak at the Department of Justice. During Black History Month, I was a keynote speaker for the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and being able to talk about vicarious trauma and different traumas that have been passed down, throughout generations because of slavery, and how we've developed that prison mindset as a people. It's not just, we're just hoodlums. And so I've had those more opportunities after going with what my heart was telling me and what I felt led to do, than opposed to what was available to me in the immediate. So that was a huge transition point for me there. Yeah.
Go ahead, Marlon.
Ricky, you were kind of leading somewhere to get to his story of what happened with the tragedy, because I think from what Mario said, if I start to ask my questions, I might derail you, Rick. So I want you to keep that train of thought, because you just said something that's very powerful, talking about the growth process and how we are actually, or the system is actually pretty much helping kids to make it to prison. So I want you to go with your thing first before we derail.
Go there, man, because this other thing is going to
all right.
Consume a lot. So
can you expound, Mario, on that with that topic that you just talked about with the pipeline to prison?
And you can certainly catch it in the New Jim Crow, the book, The New Jim Crow. But really and truly, there are just several variables and factors that happen socioeconomically. That we're dealing with not just racism, but racism is an institution. And so it's set and ingrained in the very fabric of this country. The judge that sentenced the Dred Scott, that was involved in the Dred Scott decision, he made a statement, and I'm paraphrasing, that he basically said that it was never America's plan. That America never had it on its radar for Black people to ever have any type of rights. Mm-hmm. It was 3/5 a human. We were basically slightly, maybe even equal with cattle. There was never a purpose. We were here for the foundation and the building of this country, and that was it. And so America never had a plan, nor did it desire to have a plan to see us succeed. And therefore, and consequently, when at Reconstruction, we had an opportunity after the Civil War to really have some upward mobility, it was quickly shot down. We never got our 40 acres and a mule. They redlined us so that and they created opportunities to arrest us as early as Reconstruction, so that they could find ways to benefit from our labor again. And thus, the snowball of our tragedy and our trauma. But that we're a resilient people, and America is on a consistent basis and is going to have to face the sins of its past, its present, and its present, sins of its past and present. And so, that is there are a number of factors that lead us to those shackles, to those fetters, whether it be in a prison, or whether it be, them making money from us in different ways. Yeah. And so, man, there's so much that we could go into on that. So,
there is.
Yeah, you're so right, man.
Yeah, Rick, and sometimes I like to play the advocate, just so. I don't know if you saw the movie American Skin.
Man, I heard about it. I still have yet to watch it.
Yeah.
Check it out, and I won't spoil it for you. But in the movie, I said I wouldn't spoil it for you, but in the movie,
go ahead.
The movie captured all angles of stop and somebody getting shot. And so when all of them got to sit in the room, I'm not going to tell you how they got into the room or anything. I really want you to watch it. It broke down how the cops saw it, how the person that got stopped saw it, how other people feel, how the people in the jail feel. So it covered all the dynamics of everything. Because as much as and I think this is where I like to play the advocate, because I want to think like the other person so I can see what kind of feelings they have. So you all those different things, Jim Crow, redlining, opportunities, all the different things that were put in place. But then, somebody say to you, well, the opportunity is there. This is America where every opportunity is, you can just go and grab. You now can go to see. Hey, Mario, you went to a college. What are you talking about? Right?
Yeah, you're educated.
Right. Here on the podcast, each have their masters. One have an MBA, one's a second. What are you guys talking about, complaining about? How do you answer those questions?
Yeah, man. There's a difference between opportunity and access. Right. And so I can put the opportunity out there, but I can deny you the access, or I can make it difficult for you to have the access for it. Right. And so, we just saw it on a micro or macro level involving, many different people at this point. It's a classism point where I'm getting ready to say, but we saw it just recently with the GameStop stock and the Robinhood app and stuff like that. Hey, I'm gonna make it to where you can only sell yours on this app. You can't buy it, But the opportunities are there, but I'm not going to give you access. And it happens to people of color so often, and so, to the point to where I get frustrated when I would, go back home and I'm driving through the hood and I'm seeing young brothers. I'm like, man, these guys don't know that they're the very ones that have the access to some of the educational opportunities that maybe I didn't have because we made just a little bit more too much money, right? But they've been so debased and stripped of their dignity, their pride, and their even vision to dream that they don't even know to sign up to go on the FAFSA.org, to get a Pell Grant or whatever the case is. They're struggling with literacy. So college is so far out of the reach, man. So the opportunity's there, but the access to it has been denied.
Rick, I feel like I'm.
So you're good, man.
Rick, I love that analogy. Well, I love what you talk about with what's happening with GME and AMC, because now the other side is actually seeing, like you said, there's a system to buy stocks, trade stock, and a system set in place. Now that the system was made for the rich to get richer. Now that everyone else, the journeyman that didn't study at Harvard how to become a hedge fund and all this stuff, now they're getting an opportunity to reap the benefits of the system of how to purchase and trade stock. And you say, nope, you have opportunity, but I'm denying you access. And I think that was one of the, right there, what you said, perfect. That would be an answer that anybody that is in denial will be able to just sit back and say, got it, brother. Got it.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Love it. Rick.
Dude, man, yo. Guys, this is hard, man, because Mario, we could go so many different places. And it's worse for me when I really know the person, because it's like, I don't want to like take away other aspects of maybe beneficial to other people, because I know where I want to go in my mind. So that's why Marlon was like, yo, I said, let roll with it, man, because, it's a beautiful story, man, in terms of a person. We have someone in the flesh here that is living the life of going through a journey. And when we say success, and when we're going to just debunk this whole thing, and we've done it in previous shows, we're not talking about success as saying, hey, he's trying to reach $1 million tomorrow. Or he's trying to reach the 10,000, 20,000 square foot house and the Maybank in the driveway. That's not what we're necessarily what we're classifying as success, but really trying to reach the potential and the potential of his dream. The dream that he's had that has been given to him, that he can realize that one day, so that he can not just only be a blessing to those around him, but to his family, and build a legacy for those coming behind him and his family coming behind him. And I know that's where his mindset is, and I know that's what he lives every single day. And we talk about legacy, and we talk about just what you went through over these past 18 months, on your journey. Share with our travelers, and I don't want to set it up any type of way. I just want you to try to share the story with them so they can just go through it and live it through you, sharing from your perspective what you were journeying with, what you were carrying on this journey, and what God has now revealed to you over these last couple of months through going through this.
Yeah. So, we were blessed in 2016 to have a healthy baby boy. His name is Declan. Declan means man of prayer. And, we just really want him to be in tune with God. That was our desires. He's almost 5 years old at this point, Rick. And, early, yeah, man, that's crazy. Early into our relationship, my wife, Natasha, and I, we've been married almost 9 years now in February. We said, hey, God, we want 2 children by your grace. We'd like to have a boy and a girl. And, you throw it out there and you have not because you ask not. Right. And so we told him what we wanted, wrote it down and prayed about it and started revisiting it. And so 2016, he gives us a boy. And we're like, man, this is crazy. So he's probably going to follow through with this. I mean, this is, you have no idea knowing. And so we get to 2019. And in 2019, we find out we're pregnant again. And it was, or as it 2018, but in 2019, on September 27th of 2019, we gave birth to a baby girl. And the entire pregnancy, my wife, it was a healthy pregnancy for the baby. My wife had a pretty tough pregnancy. And I kind of want to put a pin there because I got to give some context to that, because it took us 2.5 years to conceive this little girl. And so in this part of our journey leading up to the birth, we had questions. It took us 8 months to conceive our son. It took us 2.5 years to conceive our daughter, and her name was Braylee, and we'll get to that in a second. But long story short, she, we went to fertility specialists, and fellas, it's tough to hear. And I don't think that it is often noted or documented that when there are fertility issues, it's not always the woman, Correct. And in our case, it was my issue. It was on me that there was some genetic mutation or something that was decreasing my ability to conceive, help conceive. And so that was a hard one to swallow because, here I am holding up the process. And as men, we don't like to be the weakest link, man.
Yeah, men were like, oh, shoot. What?
Especially not
yeah, man. I'm the reason why progress isn't being made.
Yep.
It's okay if it's my wife. It's okay if it's somebody else. I can support you through that, right? But how do I handle when it's on me? I'm the one holding up. And so that took a lot of soul searching in that, man. And they told us if you were to have a child, there's a less than a 10% chance that that child would, or just about a 10% chance that child or would have a small percent chance that child would have a developmental disability. And so we were like, wow. But we were like, what do you say to the fact that we have this healthy boy over here? And she said it was luck. And I was like, okay, well, we're not going there with it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Thank you for your time. But here we go. So in that time period, God was doing something because within a 3-week period, we found out that I was holding up the line for the conception. We had our bank account completely broken into digitally and took all our money out of our account. And then some 3 or 4 days later, a person that was high on PCP rammed their Land Rover into the side of our house. And so I get all that news, and what I'm finding out, hindsight, is that I'm being prepared for how to handle tragedy. And that was something. I'm gonna get back to that part where he ran into our house in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward to our daughter. So we did conceive. Wife has it was a hard pregnancy for her, but the baby was healthy the entire time. We get to the day she had to have a planned C-section. We get to the day it's time to go in there, and we had done it before, and I'm there trying to support. Baby comes out, and the baby's having a hard time breathing. This was not, it's not something that's uncommon. Babies have issues in the beginning. They're in a new environment. Sometimes they have to spend a little time at the NICU, but this was a little different. They rushed our baby from the hospital we were in to Georgetown Medical Center, and they had to do some different stuff to help her out. But over the course of the next couple of days, we were hopeful because she started to show progress and she was a fighter. Man, but here we get into day 5, and she takes a turn for the worse. And this is just 2019 now. This is just 2019. September 27th, she was born. So we get close into heading into October. My birthday is September 30th. And so I'm hoping that I get this, healthy child for my birthday. Can't even remember my birthday because that's when she took a turn for the worse. And I'll never forget now. They rushed her from Georgetown to the Children's Hospital. Found out that she had clots all throughout her body. To the point to where there was a clot so big it was cutting off the blood that was going from her heart to the rest of her organs. So they decided to do an exploratory surgery on her. This is around the 5th or 6th day. And they opened her up, and then they came out and sat us down, and they said, your daughter does not have any intestines. We cannot find her intestines. The intestines had shriveled up and died and dissipated because there was no blood flow getting to the intestines. We're like, how is she still alive? And they figured that the blood clot was so large that it was keeping her from going septic throughout the rest of her body. That's how many and how large those blood clots were, so that it hadn't gotten to her lungs or to her heart. The fact that all of the toxins from her intestines dissipating, and her liver was starting to do the same. And so we're in the 6th day. We found that out. The next day we came back to the hospital and decided that we would have to lay her to rest. And they took her off of all the contraptions, and they placed her. We hadn't been able to hold her at that point. They placed her into my hands, and I looked at her, and they said, we don't know how long she's going to stay alive. So I held her. Her name was Braylee Amora Broussard. I held her in my arm. Braylee means ray of hope. And we're going to talk about this journey in a second. And what I've learned from it. Braylee means ray of hope. Amora means love. And so ray of hope and love is what we were hoping that she would portray to the rest of the world with her life. Little did I know, Marlon and Rick, that this little girl would make more impact in the 7 days that she was alive than quite possibly, she could have done in her entire, in a full lifetime. So she lived for 45 minutes. I quickly gave her off to my wife and said, you go ahead and spend the time. And I walked out of the room and just did a couple laps around the hospital, came back about 15 minutes later. We had about 30 more minutes with her. and she quietly just stopped breathing. And that was the worst day of my life. I have no answers for it to this day. And yet I felt compelled to document that journey via Facebook Live because I needed therapy. I needed a community, right, of people to walk with me. And so people from all over the world were praying for her. I'm talking India, China, the Caribbean, throughout the United States. My inbox was flooded with individuals, people who said, I have not prayed in years, but today I prayed for your family. I've not been to church in years, but for some reason, your faith in this moment is more church than I've ever needed in my life and received in my life. And I'm watching this thing unfold, and the impact that that little girl made in 7 days, I don't think that I'll ever really be able to grasp. And so we lost her October 4th, 2019. And it has been a very tough 18 months or so. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's heavy, man. Man, as you were telling the story, and I was remembering, just like, dude, like no one can fathom, going through that, time period, and I definitely know all the prayers with you and your family, and going through that, and the prayer for peace and strength and all of that. And what really, through that time, what really, really stood out to me was at the service where I saw you and Natasha standing there, and just the strength you had to stand there, and just present your daughter, and those 7 days that you had with her, and that beauty with those that were there with you to just honor her, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, traveler. So I mean, this is, when we're talking about journeys, man, we're talking about real life, man. We're talking about, the pain that comes with it. It's not always the winning and celebrating and all that kind of stuff, man. And that's great, but you can't celebrate without the both sides of it. It's just part of life, man. Both sides of it, man. And and like you said, you mentioned how it was strengthening you and preparing you along that journey, preparing you for tragedy, all those events before that, preparing you for tragedy. Like, people would have crumbled in those events, let alone this huge life-changing, altering moment that was happening with you guys, or going to happen for you guys. And man, definitely, man, your strength is, and Natasha's strength is something that is admired, and not only admired, but continued prayers with you and your family. But I want you to share, where the story has evolved to from there as you guys continued on.
Yes, I just got to say this part here, man. This is what I get excited about now. I'm, some 18 months down the road. It's not what's necessarily happening now. It's what I learned in the midst of it that gets me, excited. And I have to share this. My prayer consistently is that I will be able and positioned to impact others. Right. I'm always asking God for greater, for a greater stage, for greater impact. Not so much, because I want to see myself in lights necessarily, but I do believe that I have something to share. And so in the midst one day, because I don't have a picture of my daughter without tubes connected. So none of my memories, when I go through my phone, it's all tubes connected. I don't have any great memories captured like that. Long story short, I'm sitting there trying to ask, because I didn't know where to go from here. I didn't know whether to pray over my food anymore. I didn't know whether I needed to even pray, whether I was going to go down the street. You're going to do what you want to do anyway, God. So I don't even know where to stand with all of this. One day I'm sitting on the couch and I hear something said, as I'm kind of thinking about all this, it said, I'm answering your prayers. That's what came to my mind. But in that one phrase, it was, you know how it is. It blossoms into something else. You know what the context of it is. And what he was trying to say to me, I believe, is that you ask for a greater stage. You ask for more impact. But if I give you the stage, but I don't give you the experiences, then nobody's going to listen to you. If you haven't been through anything, then you can't help anybody out come through anything. And so immediately I begin to cry because not because I lost my daughter, not because I've been through tragedy, but because truly my prayer was being answered. That in order to have impact, in order to have a greater reach, you have to go through greater trial. It's just inevitable. Like you said, Rick, you can't get around it. There is no easy way to the top of the mountain. You're going to have to climb it. You're going to have to fall. And when you get there, you're not there just to celebrate your own success. You're there to look down the mountain and figure out how you can help somebody else up.
Yep.
Yeah. But if you've never had to climb it, then you don't have any experience in helping anybody up the mountain.
Correct.
And so if you want greater impact, then you've got to be willing to go through greater trial. And that is where I submitted in my relationship to God. And I said, I don't want it. I'm not asking for it, but I'm giving you permission to take me through as long as you give me the tools to get to the other side, because I want greater success. I want a greater stage. And I want to be able to impact, because that's what makes me feel alive. But that means I've got to be willing to go through greater trial. And that's where I'm at with it, man. And that's where my peace comes from, to be honest.
Greater impact, greater trials, man. Greater impact, greater trial. And, you know, what's the phrase people say? Everybody wants to be a champion, but don't want to do what champions do.
Yep.
You know, everyone has a plan before someone punches them in the face. It's Mike Tyson's thing. You know, it's like all these things.
We're quoting Mike.
Right.
No, he does have a doctorate degree. He does have an honorary doctorate degree.
Oh, right. You know, all these things, man, just are, you know, is real. People is real, man. Like we said, we want to bring real content, real people to you, real lives, because, you know, a lot of people get fooled with the Instagram post of, hey, this is great, everything is good, boom, I got this, I got that, or the Tumblr, or now everyone is a professional on Clubhouse, you know, everyone's a scholar, you know, it's just like all these different things, but they don't see what people are going through every single day to accomplish. And I don't even say the people that are going through these struggles, they even feel that they're accomplishing. They just say, I'm just going through a journey.
Right.
I didn't reach anywhere yet. I'm just journeying, and I'm trying to take every situation that comes to me and figure out a way how to get to the other side, get through it to the other side, man. Yeah. And we want to encourage that listener right now that's in the middle of something right now. They just got a phone call from the doctor. They just got a phone call from the school where their kids are at. They just got a phone call from the police officer on a report about their kids. I don't know what your situation is right now, but someone is listening to this in that moment right now and is like, man, do I have to go through this? Why me? And I love what Mario said. He said, greater impact, greater trials. And when you embrace that, man, the pain is going to be there, and I don't wish any pain on anybody. We don't want pain. No one wants pain. No one wants to go through tragedy. But if it's going to bring even more beauty out of you, and not just you, but the others around you, man, suffering a price, man. That's
it, man. Yeah, and you know, it applies to every facet of our lives, man. I want bigger muscles. I gotta have more resistance training. You know, it's just it's more pain is just a part of every facet of growth. And and so, you know, I've pivoted now, and I'm trying to figure out how I can invite and embrace, maybe not invite. I'm not at the place where I want to invite it, but how I can embrace the pain as, because I want the growth. And so, yeah, man. Yeah.
How has it done? Go ahead, Marlon, go ahead.
The thing, so pastoring, you're a pastor, and you're also a psychologist. When you go through this, right, you have all the training, right? You have all the training. If somebody came to you and said, hey, this happened to them, you start breaking down whatever you had to do in order to help them to heal or whatever.
Yeah.
How, it's a question. It's like the shoe. I don't know. How did you fix yourself in your mind, or what helped you? I know you said you're sitting on the couch and you got that message, but going through that whole thing till then, what was going through your mind? How were you just trying to stay focused? And also, you're trying to keep your wife strong also, because she's feeling something totally different, because as a man, you can't feel what the woman feel losing that child. So what's going through?
I want to pause and say this. One thing that we as men don't get credit for is when we're striving to be a true man, a real man. There's more in that rap sheet, that job description, than society gives us credit for.
Correct.
Because the truth about it is, and I'll say this, it's not because I've hidden my emotions and my feelings. I believe true men express their emotions and their feelings. But it's when you're trying to hold it down. I have to say that I had to create opportunities for me to grieve, because life doesn't lend. Life as a head of my household did not lend opportunity for me to grieve, because my son needed me to still play with him. He needed the same. I had to keep that same energy, as the saying is. I had to keep that same energy. My wife, she needed me. She didn't get out of the bed for 4 or 5 days. She needed me to go get the groceries, to clean the house, to keep some type of homeostasis going on in our unit. And so I had to make time to grieve. But to answer your question, Marlon, one thing that I did that I believe, outside of just a miracle of God, one practical thing that I did was that when those times came where I felt overwhelmed, angry, the gamut of emotions, I didn't run from it.
Ooh,
and I planted myself in that moment, and I allowed myself to feel it. And you know who taught me how to do that?
Who's that?
My son. My son. So check it. I'm watching this guy. We come home on October 4th, having just laid our daughter to rest. We come home, my mother and my brother are watching him. So he comes and he says, "Where's my sister?" And we told him his sister was sick. We're trying to get her home. Before she was born, we had him go buy her a gift, and we bought him a gift that was on behalf of his sister. Mm-hmm. And so when she was not coming home, we decided to pull the gift out of the trunk, and we sat him down and we said, "Hey, son, unfortunately, your sister was so sick, the medicine couldn't help, and she died." And we just let him hear that. He paused for a second, and when we said, "But before she died, she wanted you to have this right here," and we handed him. It was a little action figure. Mm-hmm. And he looks at it and he goes, "This is from my sister?" And we're like, "Yeah." He said, "But she died?" And we're like, "Yeah, she passed. She died." He paused. He smiled about his gift. He looked up at us. At this time, he was just turning 4. Mm-hmm. He began to cry, and he hugged my wife. He looked back at his gift, smiled about it, looked at me. He cried again. He continued to cry. He hugged me. Then he took his gift, smiling, and ran off to go play with it. Ooh. And I learned a valuable lesson on how to mourn right then and there.
Yes, sir.
That when I feel happy about a memory I had with her, or about the pregnancy, or or about whatever it was, I'll smile about it. I'll allow myself to feel that. But then when I'm angry or I'm upset or I'm sad about it, the fact that I lost my daughter, the fact that as a man, all I want to do is fix it and I couldn't do it, I stopped and I cried about it. And then I would go play ball, or then I would go play Xbox, or then I would go take the trash out. But when it was time to cry, I cried. And when it was time to laugh, I laughed. And I gave myself permission to do it. And aside from a miracle of God, that's how I was able to navigate through mourning, because I didn't want to fake on myself. I wanted to be real and in the moment. And that's how I've been doing it ever since.
You are concreting some stuff for me that I've been spewing to people, and some people think I'm crazy. We don't give ourselves. Part of the healing process is to mourn, is to feel upset, is to feel hate, is to the Bible says there's a time and a season for everything under the sun.
For everything. Yeah.
What we believe as Christians, I'm gonna just go to the Christian side of it. As Christians, a lot of times somebody do you know wrong, you gotta go forgive them. You jump straight to that instead of helping the person go through all the stages like your son did. And then when it's time for me to forgive you, I can honestly forgive you and leave it alone.
That's it. That's it, man. That's it.
Wow, what a message, man. Thank you. Thank your son for that, because that's a very valuable lesson right there. Very valuable.
Correct.
Yeah, man. He saved us. He really did.
Praise God, man.
Yeah.
And listen, man, Traveler, I mean, you saw in the intro when Mario, he broke out his hat, his dad girl hat, you know. You got to put that back on for us, man.
Yeah, man.
His story is continuing. Girl dad. His story is continuing, man. They received some beautiful news, man. They will be having a girl, and man, it's just a blessing, man. Blessed story. But you guys, it's even more so of a moment of celebration for them because of what they had to bear, you know, these past few 18 months, man. And listen, dude, man, we can go on and on and on and on. We can have like 3-part series.
Yeah.
I know you've done them, crusades and all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Alden, you had one other thing you wanted to mention, man?
For this month, and I'm putting us on the spot again, I put Ricky on the spot a lot. Because I don't do the editing, right? So I get to just come up with the ideas and say, hey, we're gonna do this, and Ricky's over there like, man, do you know what it takes to put this together?
Right.
But we have some other brothers that we have, and we're thinking about doing a round table. We're gonna do them, but I think we should do something, especially for this month. And you hit on a perfect topic too about there's some of the things that you said that's jogging in my head right now about fathers or real men not getting the credit or the accolades that they deserve when they're doing, and you don't understand what it really takes, right? So through this whole month, I think people should just not think of it as just the Black History Month and just throw up a dashiki and just you know how we do how
right,
happens.
Right.
But really dive into some of the topics that can really bring us out throughout the year, not just in the February. And we're going to do some things that this month that we're going to have to have people thinking a lot deeper than just, hey, I'm not disrespecting Martin Luther King, I have a dream speech for Black History Month. That's just it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Sure. Hey, Mario, man, one thing we like to ask our guests, and more of a final question for them is, you know, if you can go back to that 9-year-old boy, right, or even 11-year-old, 13-year-old boy, knowing what you know now in life, you know, and you had 1 minute with him, you know, maybe outside playing ball or whatever, you saw him at the park, you know, what would you share with him as an imparting wisdom, knowing what the journey is going to look like going forward?
Man, I would tell that young boy, Rick Marlin, that I would tell him to understand that there are some certain things out of his control, But I would empower him to control what he could control and align himself with people who were heading in the direction that he wanted to head in. Because for years I blamed a lot. I didn't blame. I just felt like if I had my father in my life, and for the record, my father is accessible, and I know that my father loves me. But I felt like if I had him in my life the way that I felt was supposed to be, that there would be certain parts of this journey that I wouldn't have to either repeat or muddle my way through. But I realized something, and Marlon, you begin to touch on it, that within my so many of us as Black men, throughout the generations past, we didn't have the tools that we needed to be men the way that we needed. And it dawned on me one day, my wife told me something broke in the house. And I was like, man, this is probably going to cost a few $100s to fix. But and I was thinking to myself, if my dad had been there, he would have taught me how to fix this thing. Before I could even finish the sentence, I had to recap it. And I was like, no, that's not right. My dad could have been there all till I was blue in the face, and he wouldn't have been able to teach me that because he didn't know it. And his father didn't know it. And it's because his father didn't know it. Yeah. And so, it's on me now. But if I had been more intentional of aligning myself and understanding and forgiving myself to know that my ignorance wasn't my fault necessarily, that I don't have to be so hard on myself. But what I do owe myself is the opportunity and the diligence to go and find individuals and align myself with individuals who have the knowledge that I did not receive. Yeah. And so that's what I would tell that young boy. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're working against generations, right? Of curses, of misinformation, of toxicity, of brokenness, right? But at some point, if you want better, you got to dig deep and align yourself with better so that you can have the best possible outcome.
Yeah, just love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Travelers, man. Like we say every week, man, we're holding up on our part and bringing you guests that can help you along your journey through their stories. And that's what we want to really capture. And we want to really thank Mario Broussard for spending some time with us, just chopping it up. And like we said, y'all, man, we can go episodes upon episodes with this guy, man, to talk about a variety of different things, man. We just want to thank him for sharing what he has shared with us, because we know that it's going to really help somebody right now listening across the world that's getting ready to hit their moment of tragedy, Lord, and just knowing that they have the strength within them. And if they don't, there's someone they can reach out to, our God in heaven, man, that can give them that strength to make it through that journey. So, man, don't be shy to reach out to him either, man, because he's there for you. That's right. But, listen, we have come to the end of another show. And Mara, we always give our guests an opportunity to connect with you, whatever way you feel best for them to connect with you, whether it be a social media platform, whether it be, you guys actually even did a movie with your story, right? Yeah, you didn't even share that part, but yeah, tell them where they can get that and all that information.
I didn't even know that.
Sure. Yeah, man. So yes, I neglected to say that, and I forgot about it myself. We have a documentary on Amazon Prime. The title of it is Ray of Hope. And so you can go, or if you have Amazon Prime, you can go on Amazon Prime and look it up, Ray of Hope. And you can see my wife and I chronicling our journey from joy to tragedy to healing. And it has impacted. We have actually won 2 awards at film festivals for it.
Wow.
And one in Baltimore and also one in Argentina, a film festival in Argentina for it. Yeah. And so it has impacted a lot of individuals for the good. We get reports of it. And we actually started a nonprofit organization Ray of Hope and Love. And so you can see that if you look at the documentary, or you can go to the website, which is myrayofhope.org. And so you can give to our cause for our organization. We want to bring awareness and provide resources to the disparities in the African-American population and the Black population nationally, because we lose more children to the healthcare system than any other ethnic, group. Yeah. And so we want to be able to raise funds to help those who are in need, as well as provide education and resources for those who are grieving their losses as well. So you can do that. That's myrayofhope.org. And then if you want to catch me, if you want to find me, my Instagram is Voice of Hope, Voice_of_Hope. That's on Instagram. And then Facebook is my whole government, Mario Alden Broussard II. I'm the only one. That's my whole government. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Voice_of_Hope. So yeah.
All right. Love it. Love it. And guys, all of those, if you missed it right there and you need to grab it real quick, go scroll down into the description, and we'll have that information in there for you. You can click on the links and check out the website or connect with him on the social media platforms. Guys, we had another phenomenal time with you tonight, travelers. And next week, we're coming again strong with another great guest. So you do not want to miss it. But like Marlon mentioned, we do have a special thing that we've been working on, trying to figure out the best way to release it out into the world. And Marlon scratching his head like, what is he talking about? So I'm throwing it back on him now, right? No, so we got some things coming for everybody. A different segment of the show that we're going to be recording and putting out 10, 15-minute clips of. Man, we think you guys will really enjoy it. But listen, we're here putting content out for you. Thank you for those that are leaving reviews on our platforms. For those that haven't, go to any one of the social media platforms, any one of the podcast platforms. We are there. Leave a review. Tell us how much you're enjoying these shows. Or if you're not, if you have more content you want us to deliver, let us know. We want to be that for you. So we will see you guys again next week at the same time, the same place on the Success Journey Show. All right, everyone, have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.